Hi there, beach friends. Oh, see that fish jump? We are at Bunche Beach today, and we're going to see what kind of fun things we can find here. Now, I did come here before, pretty soon after the hurricane. It was looking a little shabby, but we've made progress because that big old refrigerator that was on the beach is now on the side of the road. So hopefully a garbage truck can come and pick that up. So this is the first actual shelling trip I've done at any of the beaches down here in the Fort Myers area. And we're going to see some stuff I ordinarily would not expect to see on a beach. But I'm also going to find some things that I've never seen before in a good way. Brand new to me shells. We have a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk to you about the Fort Myers Beach cleanup. We're going to go back and see how that horse conch cleaned up, and I'm going to give you an auction update. So if you're ready to see what is in store for us today, let's go to the beach. So here we are at Bunche, just kind of taking it all in. I did pop by here not that long ago. I did see that the parking meter had been knocked out. Apparently it is not a priority. That parking meter is still out. And technically this beach is closed. It's not open to the public. There were other people here. I could see why the county doesn't encourage people to come here, but I am here to look for shells, and also honestly I'm here to pick up garbage. So I would like to make an impact and clean up things, and while I'm here, maybe find a wentletrap or two. So when I see the water kind of looking like that with those coffee grinds in the water, immediately I think wentletrap. If I see a bubble, even more so. Okay, that is an imposter. That is a little fly speck seraph. So that is not a wentletrap, but darn it, they look a lot like them, especially in the water if there's just a little bit of movement. So we'll see how the day turns out. Check this out. This is pretty awesome. I've never found one of these. This is a boring turret snail. So it looks a little bit like an auger. It's kind of spiral, but the bottom is totally different. Doesn't really taper in the way that an auger does. How cool is that? A boring turret snail. I thought that was very cool. And ordinarily, I might be freaking out that I'm so happy that I found an albino olive, because this is a lettered olive. However, the shells here at Bunche they get discolored and they end up being white and the wrong color. I don't know why, they just do. I'm still going to keep that shell, but it's not albino. Like this jasper cone, this is another shell. It's kind of just bleached out. So that is a jasper cone. Again, weird. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep that fine little discolored shell. And I'm going to keep this fine discolored shell as well. But this one, I was really kind of thinking was pretty cool. So that's a top snail, and it's almost white, but it doesn't look weird and bleached out. Like if you look really close, you can kind of still see the texture on this shell, the little beading. So just interesting, discolored top snail. Thought that was kind of cool. Now, Bunche isn't really a great shelling beach, but it is great for the tinies, wentletraps included. So I do have wentletraps on the brain. But these ladder-horn snails, I don't really find them much other places, but here I do. And they have such a neat aperture or opening. Aren't they neat? So a ladder-horn snail. Pretty much always here at Bunche you'll find those. Kind of neat. Okay. And here we have another small shell. That is a coffee melampus. Just a little tiny thing. It actually has a little bit of color. Kind of cool. Oh, another boring turret snail. So weird. I've never found one ever. Now I've found two. So yay. Yay on things I wasn't expecting to find. Very cool. Oh, I haven't gotten very far, and I'm just kind of taking a look at the battering that this beach received from Hurricane Ian. You can kind of see the things are pushed back away from the Gulf. And it definitely looks different. A lot of sand is missing. There used to be a lot more sand here. And yep, there's the garbage. And I knew I was going to find glass. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to come here, was to kind of pick up some of the garbage, the glass, the plastic, pieces of wood, whatever I could kind of find. So I am going to do that along the way, pick up a little piece of metal, lots of styrofoam I was putting in the bag. So as I was here, I was, like I said, I was picking up the garbage, trying to make an impact. I have been keeping track of it. So at the end of the video, I'll give you a little update on how much garbage I personally have been able to remove from the beach thus far. Now this is kind of neat. So this is a horseshoe crab exoskeleton. I didn't know that they like shed like a snake. When they get bigger, they shed that outer coating. And I've found these before and I thought it was actually a deceased animal, but it is not. Live and learn. That is just the exoskeleton of a horseshoe crab. I think they look kind of angry. They look kind of fun. A fun, angry horseshoe crab. And this is a mangrove periwinkle. So it's not a true sea snail. They kind of live in the splash zone, but very difficult to find those delicate shells. Beautiful mangrove periwinkle. Just kind of peeking, seeing what the conditions are. Excellent. More of those coffee grinds. And it makes me think wentletrap. All right, let's check out this. So this is a lightning whelk. I would find live ones here, not so much the shells, but I mean, you have this one here. As you can see, it's a little discolored. So it is a lightning whelk. Excellent. This is a bubble. So when you're looking for the wentletraps, you're looking for coffee grinds, bubbles, and then hopefully those wentletraps. So I do, I'm looking, I'm trying. So there are itty bitty, and I'm really lucky because there's not, all right, nothing there. Not really much of a surf per se. It's really gentle. But that's not to say that it's still not frustrating. I can't seem to nail anything down, so I'm gonna go up on the beach where things are not moving around as much. Again, just bits and pieces, but there's treasures here. Another fly speck cerith, and it also is kind of devoid of colors, kind of got that beige color to it. So I've been trying. Looks like all I'm coming up with are those fly speck ceriths, and that's okay. We got a whole bunch more beach to cover. Look at this. So I was looking at, there's a little bit of color on this shell, picked it up, and we have ourselves an itty bitty hermit crab. I mean, itty bitty. So it's just kind of flopping around in there, so we're not bringing that hitchhiker home. Another boring turret snail, so that makes 3. Yep, never found one, and now I've got 3. Really cool. All right, and this is what I mean about the tinies. There's tons of tinies here. What do we got? All right, that's another one of those coffee melampus shells. It's a little bit beat up. That's okay. What else we got? Something small. Fly speck cerith. All right, that has a little bit of color on it. So this is a great beach for tiny shells if you're looking for those little itty bitty ones. Another one of those olives. Look, see, I knew that first one was not albino. It just kind of devoid of color. I'm still going to keep it just because it's a little bit weird. Okay, here, moon snail, probably going to be, yep, look at that. Almost totally white. You don't normally find moon snails that color. And actually, I'm kind of psyched it's empty. Normally a shell like that would have a hermit crab in it, but I can keep that weird white moon snail. Yay! So that in the distance is Sanibel, and you can see the causeway there. And I can tell, I can kind of see that there are broken areas, that the areas are beat up. It's not the way it used to look. But we're repairing it. Every day I feel like it's just a little bit better. It's definitely going to take us some time. And I was thinking I had found the most gorgeous crown conch at this beach here at Bunche, and I see a live one. Yep, I was hoping it was a shell. I kind of figured it was alive. So this is a live crown conch. That is the front of the shell where the animal will come out and kind of do its hunting and sliding around. That is the back of the shell. Gorgeous. Nice spikes. I mean, eventually that is going to be a wonderful shell to collect, but not yet. This critter is not done. So we'll just leave him where we found him, and maybe one day we'll find that shell. Okay, bummer. This looks like there's metal there. I'm not touching that, and I'm not dressed. Like, I don't have gloves or anything. So yeah, this is a little bit of a mess, a little bit of a danger. One of the reasons that the beach is probably closed. So, you know, if you do venture out, be careful. And this is a broken banded tulip, which is a fantastic find for Bunche. Crazy, right? I find them like by the gallons down in the Marco Island area, but here, not so much. Now, this is kind of cool. This is a land snail. This is a rosy wolf snail. Kind of neat, right? Now, they caused a lot of havoc in Hawaii, but here they hunt other snails. So that is a rosy wolf snail shell. It's a land snail. So remarkably, I'm kind of looking like, this don't look so bad. I know a hurricane came through here, but I kind of feel like I'm at the beach. Although I do admit in the distance there might be something. Yep, there's the tip of Fort Myers Beach. So we'll just keep meandering down to the end. I do want to see the entire beach of Bunche Beach, just kind of see what's happened since the hurricane. Here is another lightning well, terrible color. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of different. I'm going to keep it because I think it's kind of neat, but that is not the color it's supposed to be. And that is okay. Now, teaching moment here. Now, that is what you would call like the tail of a shell. If you see that, pick it up. Sometimes the rest of the shell will be here. I'm not surprised. It's just a piece, but you never know. So if you ever see that kind of shape, the end of the shell, at least kick it with your foot. See if the whole shell is there. Now check this out. Now I've seen these in books. I've never actually found one. This is an ivory tusk shell. Now the reason I think it's an ivory tusk shell, because in the book they say it is relatively sharp tip, unlike some of the other tusk shells that are open on both ends. So it is open on both ends. The critter and the foot will be on the larger end, and the other open end is for respiratory purposes. So kind of cool. Another first for me find here at Bunche. Thank you, Bunche. And here I'm looking for maybe one of those elusive wentletraps just rolling around. Oh, all right, not a wentletrap, but look here. A rose petal talon. This makes me so happy. Typically find those over on Fort Myers Beach. So it just kind of feels like home, like, aw. Happy to have that rose petal talon. And this gentleman, probably a local, he's got one of those little sticks and 2 garbage bags in his hand. So I suspect he's been here before. He comes, picks up garbage, and that's just kind of cool. Kind of what I'm doing. Wish I could come here every day. Believe me, I wish I could. That is a crown conch. Terrible color. Kind of got that weird, again, just completely void and kind of broken. And that's what the beach does. Oh, dear. All right, I see a roof or something, so we'll check that out in a second. Still hoping to find more organic matter. Let's see. It's hard. I mean, it's ironic that you want those little bits and pieces kind of floating around to find the wentletraps, but it makes it so much harder to kind of nail down, actually see the shell within that stuff that's floating around. And to be fair, it's much easier when everything's just steady. It's not moving anywhere. Another one of those ladderhorn snails. Bits, pieces, crushed up shells. There are other little things here. Here we have a Morton's egg cockle. So those are kind of swell, and sometimes they have nice bright colors. Kind of fun, and plus it's hinged, so that makes it a little more special. What other little? Okay, a bruised NASA. Another one of those itty bitty little shells. Fun. And I find these shells really interesting. This is a West Indian false seraph, and it almost looks like it's painted, but nope, that's just the natural color it is. Kind of cool. Oh, this is whole? Yes, a coquina. This one happens to be just white, unlike all the other shells here at Bunche, but that is a little white coquina. Look, pink again, and it's the tiniest darling hinged rose petal talon that I've ever found. That is just, like I said, darling. So I'm going to put that in my safekeeping little bloop right in there. Make sure I try to keep that intact. Okay, well, we have a roof here, and it's not funny, but I think it came from Bowditch. So it kind of has the colors of the buildings over there. Yeah, that is definitely a roof. And I suspect right over there, that is Bowditch. That is also another beach park with had buildings. I have not been over there since the hurricane, so I don't know what kind of condition. I suspect some roofs are missing, or at least one big roof is missing. Ugh. And again, another reason why the beaches are closed. You can see there's other people here, so if you do venture out, again, be careful. So here we have a jingle. It's very iridescent, and you can see that foot. It's also called a baby's foot. So the muscle of the shell where it attaches leaves that little mark, and it kind of looks like a foot. And now as I'm marching, I'm going south, and I'm getting like a little bit closer to Fort Myers, and I'm seeing more stuff kind of in the trees, plastic bags, colors that shouldn't be there. What the what? Okay, we have a piece of a house back there, and I can see other, well, some of it's not so little. Okay, there's been other people here, so I can see there's other footprints, but wow. Are you kidding me? So somebody's piece of a house is here. And that just makes me think, wow, what other things are in the back in these mangroves? Yeah, somebody kind of scratched Ian on that. So that came from over there, across the bay, and then up onto the beach here. So that, wow. Wow. Yeah, and it's kind of overwhelming to think how that's ever going to get cleaned up. I'm still going to do my part. I grab those plastic bags off the trees, whatever I can grab and carry, because I guess just a little bit at a time, it's just going to get a little bit better day by day by day. Man, there's a lot of stuff. Maybe, no promises, but maybe I'll bring my drone down here and put it up and see what other kind of stuff is in the mangroves back there. But I did find a proper bag, because honestly, the little plastic bag I brought wasn't doing me justice. So I got this nice contractor bag to throw the rest of the garbage that I'm kind of pulling from trees and stuff. I'm not dressed for a cleanup, so I'm not going to kind of go back there. But again, anything that I can see or grab or carry, I'm going to take from the beach. And so I was kind of looking, I just wanted to see what the beach looked like. And so I got all the way down to the end, and there's just garbage in the mangroves. And oh man, it's kind of heartbreaking. But on the flip side, it probably looked a lot worse. I mean, this has been a little over 2 months, September, October, yeah, 2 months since the hurricane. So, well, while I'm here, any shells, anything good? No, not really. Okay, so I just wanted to come and kind of see what's going on here. And there was a door in the water. It was pretty heavy, so I just drug it onto the beach. And the area back there that's all messed up, that's county preserve. So I guess the county will clean it up. I'll talk about a county cleanup at Fort Myers Beach in just a little bit. But for now, let's not concentrate on that. Well, and like I was saying to somebody else, if I just kind of concentrate my view this way, it's almost like quote unquote normal. Like a hurricane didn't come here and hand us our rear ends. Oh, now this is not the right time of year to find this. but this is a pear whelk egg casing. So it looks just like the lightning whelk. The pear whelk egg casing about the size of a dime. And that really is kind of weird that I would find that this time of year. So as I contemplate that, I think I'll just go for a little walk and give you all some beach time. I see a little more pink. Another rose petal talon. All right, that one is a little, this one's probably been hanging out here for a little while, but that's all right. Another terrific rose petal talon. Now, at this point, I really kind of just want to walk to the other side of Bunche. What do we have here? We have something in the tree. The only thing that should be in the tree is shells. So I understand somebody just want to kind of get this. Maybe somebody could come retrieve it, but I am going to put that in the garbage. So there's a specific tree that I'm very curious to see if it had survived the storm that came down. I've spent a lot of time here at Bunche. I don't necessarily make a lot of videos here, but I do spend a lot of time here. And there was just this one particular tree. It was really, really pretty, and it's all the way at the end. So at this point, I'm not really finding anything too interesting. We know there's lots of little small stuff here, so I'm just trying to make it over to this tree. Now, in the past, this is what it's looked like. It's lush, it's green, there's lots of sand here, and it really is just kind of this really pretty part of the beach. So again, this is what it used to look like, looking out over the bay. And on the very right, you can kind of see the tip of Sanibel. And then let's take a look at what it looks like now. So I kind of come around the turn, and I was afraid it wouldn't even be there, honestly, but I see them. I see the two trees. Now, lots of that sand is gone. All right, we have a little bit of debris here, and that's to be expected. Yeah, the woman's door, that probably, again, was from over on Bowditch. A little bit of wood. And so what we're doing is we're kind of just making piles, consolidating the garbage, but the tree survived. I was really kind of happy about that. And if you think about it, all those other little roots around it, that kept that tree there. So these mangroves are so important. And that's why the dunes, when they say stay off the dunes, because those grasses and any of those things that grow there going to keep the sand there, and it's going to keep the ground and everything else secure. So that poor tree is surrounded by water now, but at least it survived. I was happy to see that at least it was still here. So I've kind of seen everything I wanted to come see while I was here at Bunche. Got my garbage and got my shoes. Let's talk about beach shoes for just a second. I do always wear beach shoes. These are newer shoes that I was trying out. Unfortunately, they're a little bit snug fitting, which is good, except that it traps sand inside the shoe between your skin and the shoe, and it rubs the skin off. So for me, unfortunately, I can't recommend these, especially if you're going to do a lot of walking. They work fine. Bunche is a short beach. I wore these instead. They're a little sturdier than these shoes. Now, these are my go-to shoes. Absolutely nothing wrong with these, except that I have to continually need to replace them because the toe wears out. So these are my go-to shoes, though. These work fantastic. I will put a link in the description box below. And if I do happen to find better shoes in the future, I will bring you that update and let you know about that. So like I said, kind of done what I've come here to do at Bunche. I did stop and speak with another gentleman, and he said that, yes, there are indeed boats and all sorts of stuff kind of in the mangroves behind me to the left here that we can't see. And it is what it is. We had a really nasty hurricane come through here, so it's just going to take some time. And I'm excited because I was able to go do my first beach cleanup. So Fort Myers Beach had their first beach cleanup on November 30th. And this is a little different because I'm walking to the place where everyone's going to meet up. I do have parking here on Fort Myers Beach, so I'm able to access that and then walk over to where everybody was meeting, which is over toward the north part of the island. But when you walk, you see everything. And so I've done a little bit of driving here and there. But man, when you walk past these homes, it really just kind of brings it home. I mean, some of the people are trying to live here. I really shouldn't say trying. I say do live here. So amongst this complete devastation, people are living here. If your house was sturdy enough and you were able, you could live here. So I was happy to come and try to clean up. I'd never done a beach. Well, I'm constantly picking up garbage when I go to the beach, but this was my first official beach cleanup, and I was dying to see Fort Myers Beach. I really kind of consider Fort Myers Beach to be like my home beach. It's the one that I know the best. I do not typically spend a lot of time on this part of the island, although that may change considering I've got parking here and I have no idea what is going on the south end of the island. So for now, with a bunch of people, they give you a bag, they give you a little stick that you can pick stuff up with. And yes, of course, if I saw something even remotely fascinating like that hinged cockle or this angel wing, I was going to stop and put it. I didn't bring a shell bag. I came unprepared. I was thinking about picking up garbage, but believe me, I had my pockets and I had a little fanny pack, so I jammed it full of, believe it, knicker nuts. I got a bunch of those gray knicker nuts and then a couple of seashells. And as I'm doing this, I figured, hey, I can do this. I can come and just pick up garbage. I do it all the time anyway. So I will be coming back here and I will be picking up garbage and probably some seashells too. So I might become very intimate with this part of the island, but good to know. Again, at least there's a couple of seashells there. And then I saw somebody trying to put a Santa up, maybe spread some holiday cheer. I think anything that looks or feels normal is probably really appreciated when there is just so much chaos still going on. However, I've made a lot of progress and I have 2 links to share with you. One of them is for the Fort Myers Beach Elementary School PTO. Thank you, Crazy Garden Lady, for that recommendation. So you can give your money to these people and they will buy, currently they need science equipment. They need thermometers, goggles, things for those kids. There's also another link I can give you that you can send funds to help rebuild their school. And I'll talk more about that once we get to the auction. And I'm going to give you an update on the auction also in just a minute. And here it was just so heartbreaking walking down the street and you see pots and pans and yeah, it's a little rough here. But let's talk about something a little bit more uplifting. Remember that lightning walk that I found at South Marco? It was a little beat up. I was kind of on the fence on whether I should keep it or not. And honestly, I'm really glad I did because I found some air plants and I popped it in there and that's it. I love it. I absolutely love the way that looks. And the shell actually didn't clean up too badly. It's got a little bit of color. It's a little faded, but those bigger shells it's very typical. It's going to lose some of that color. But I think it cleaned up quite nicely. So maybe I will be on the lookout for more of those bigger beat up shells. Now, who can forget that monster that I found last week? I still can't believe I found that. Right as I'm leaving the island, we found that big monster, and it looked like it was in really great shape. I mean, I was really over the moon about it. But when you give it a little bit of cleaning, you can see there's a lot of pitting on it. The aperture is actually beautiful. I mean, that looks fantastic. It's shiny. It's got some nice color on it. It's a little chipped. I mean, just a little bit. The tip is really nice, but the shell, it does have a little bit of that pitting. It looks like critters will go in and kind of try to suck out the calcium from the shells. So it's not perfect, but you never know. Maybe this is something that I'll be willing to give up in the future. Now, speaking of giving up horse conchs, a bunch of those horsies are now in a soap and water bath. So I let them sit out for a really long time. They smelled, oh my God, there is a special smell for dead sea things. Holy cow. So once the smell was pretty much gone, now these are soaking in soap and water. And I'm not going to clean them for the auction. I'm afraid that people might want to do it themselves. So here they are. I will be auctioning that off. And I'm starting to gather some other things. I'm also going to auction off a couple little bottles. Those are all lightning whelk little itty bitty babies. And I also have some true tulips that were gifted to me, and I'll also be auctioning those off as well. So a lot of fun things we have to look forward to. Today, taking garbage off the beach, I removed 2.76 pounds, and in total I've almost removed 9 pounds, so that's kind of cool. And here's my haul. Here's all the shells I got at Bunche. So all the white ones, that moon snail, it kind of looks like just a blob, some of those lightning whelks. But I did like that periwinkle, the couple of those nasas and bubbles, and the egg cockles, the rose petal talons, and of course on the bottom all those ladderhorn snails. But those boring turret snails and that tusk snail, I thought that was really, really cool. Look, Bunche, it's really kind of a hit or miss kind of thing. I still had a fine time. Actually, I probably could have stayed there even longer. I still had to kind of pull myself off the beach. So Patreons, thank you so, so very much for supporting me and coming along with me every week, and everybody else that comes along. Thank you. Next week, I have a real treat. We're going to 3 different islands. It was awesome. I cannot wait to share. So you have yourself a really great week, and I will see you again next Sunday.